Hi friends, it's Lori and welcome to my shade garden actually. So if you're new to the channel, I'm a garden in zone 7B in the Maryland area and it is a gorgeous fall day. It's in the 60s and I had to get a vest on, but just a beautiful day. So I'm just gonna spend some time out here in the shade garden today. I have several projects I wanna get done and I thought you might enjoy them. So the first thing that's on my list today is I have a brand new hydrangea for me. You may have grown it before that I want to add to the shade garden. This is the Haas Halo. Doesn't look like much right now, but Haas Halo hydrangea. I'll put the tag up so you can see it if you can read it or at least take a screenshot. Now, I purchased this from White Flower Farm. White Flower Farm is up in Connecticut, and they are an amazing grower and retailer. They have a garden center and nursery that you can walk through, but that is where I decided to find it. My local area does not sell this hydrangea. So if you're looking to add kind of a specimen plant to your garden, White Flower Farm is a great place to check out. So this is going to get 3x3. It's a great size hydrangea. It can handle partial shade, which is this garden, and it gets gorgeous white blooms on it. It also needs well draining soil. And my shade garden, the property slopes, and this area does not retain moisture. It actually stays a little bit on the dry side. I would call it almost a dry shade garden because of the tree canopy. It doesn't get a lot of rain. I actually supplement throughout the summer. In the heat of the summer, I will come out with a sprinkler hose and water once a week because it just stays really, really dry. We may even have a hard time planting this today. So I'm going to get started and show you where that's going to go. I'm so excited to have it in the garden. And then I've got a bunch of other projects. I also want to start some fall cleanup. So this area is looking beautiful, but when I work in a space, I like to go ahead and tackle cleanup, whether that's deadheading, removing something that's broken, or branches. And so today I just want to spend a little bit of time starting my fall cleanup. Most of the plants in the shade garden kind of just fade away and go to sleep, but there are some that are looking kind of rough right now. And so I'm just going to go ahead and give them a haircut. But there are also some things that are doing beautiful. So I hope you enjoy seeing this space today. I am going to grab some biotone and my shovel and we'll get to planting. So I'm going to be planting the hydrangea right where this blue container is. So this container was a gift from my mom. It was in her garden when she had to move, and it's been here ever since. It actually still has some of her plants in it. It has a beautiful balloon flower that has already stopped blooming. It has a fern, and then I added this small arb. But what I want to do is, as this garden space has evolved, I actually have green and kind of rustic containers in the space. And I absolutely love this container. I have on my patio down at the house, all my containers are in shades of blue. My patio cushions are navy. So this is going to get moved down to the patio. I think it's going to be stunning. So my husband's going to help me move this probably this weekend. I did buy a dolly because I move pots all the time and we just have not had a dolly. But for today, I'm hoping I can kind of shimmy it out of place. But I think this is a perfect spot for the Haas Halo. All right, let me see if I can get this moved. So I got her planted. It was quite a challenge. This area has lots of tree roots, and we had bought a dogwood tree for this area when we first moved in, and it did not survive. And I think I know why. I just found a bunch of burlap. I think it was a bald tree. And I think they left all the burlap around the tree, unfortunately. I wasn't here to inspect. And sometimes when you get plants from a nursery, not everybody knows how to plant them the right way. No judgment, just saying that I would try really hard not to leave the burlap around. It doesn't disintegrate fast enough in all areas. And I think it can choke out the roots getting through or getting nutrition or water. So, anyway, I think that this will do great here. It will penetrate the ground. I'm going to actually be sure that I keep this really soaked even over the next few weeks. I did add some land and sea on top. So I didn't plant it super deep, and then I covered it with some land and sea to give it some extra nutrients and just to supplement this area. I actually am going to keep the bag back here. There's some other plants that I want to give a little love, and I'm going to give some extra land and sea before we get all the fall leaves on top of this garden. All right, so there she is. I think hopefully she'll fill this space. This container will be gone. And actually, once it's moved, I have room. I've got a couple of hostas that I need to transplant. So those will be beautiful, nice, low growing plants around this hydrangea. So now I think I need a break from digging. So let's go. I want to add some pansies to a container and take out some impatiens. So we'll do that and then I'll start some cleanup. Okay, you guys. So back in this space, I love this container, and these impatiens have absolutely done amazing. They have just not stopped, and they still look gorgeous, but probably in 2 weeks or less, we're going to have a frost and they will die instantly and turn to mush. And I want to get the pansies started. In my area, pansies, we can get them rooted in, and then they will go a little dormant in the dead of winter, and then they'll pop back up in the spring. And this little tree, actually, my mom had, it's supposed to stay miniature, and it is just so beautiful. So it's going to stay in the container, but I'm going to go ahead and take out these impatiens. They're very shallow rooted. I love impatiens in the shade garden. And let me show you what we're going to put in their place today. So I've got these gorgeous blue, kind of blue purple pansies. And I just thought that pop of color up here would be gorgeous. So first let's clean out and then we'll just pop them in. I am not going to change the soil. I'm just going to get probably my hori hori. We'll pop them in and we'll be done with this project. Now, while I'm here though, I see a lot of cleanup. So we may start our cleanup over here today. we got this all done. Isn't it so sweet? Gonna give it a little water. These were fresh pansies. I love when you get them and they just kind of started to grow. I did add some potting soil just to top it off. And I did trim up the evergreen just a little bit to keep it kind of shaped and to be able to plant underneath it. Now, probably this spring, I may go ahead and take this out of the container, check the roots, and then repot it. If it's getting too root bound, I, of course, would put it in a larger container. But it's supposed to stay small, so I'm hoping I can get maybe another year or so out of it. But these should just start taking off. I will come in and give these guys some fertilizer probably next week just to give them an extra boost so that they really grow their roots before winter. I have found that that brings the most success when I give them some fertilizer and get them really growing. All right, so since we just did this container, I think it makes sense to get started with cleanup back here. I really have done absolutely nothing, really nothing to this side of the garden. So this was my original shade garden space and it's just filled in really nicely. I love it. There's not a lot to do, but I do have some deadheading I want to do. I see some weeds. This little stem branch, I thought this was so fun and kind of architectural, but I think it's seen its last day. Some weeding, trimming up the edge. So I'm just going to get in here and do a little bit of cleanup, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so I was able to get this little section all cleaned up and tidied up. It didn't take but about 30 minutes. It didn't need a lot yet. It's still early, but just trimming up some of the dead stuff to make it look neater. And I also did cut back my Annabelle hydrangea. So I know that there are a lot of videos, a lot of conversation about you cut your hydrangeas back in late winter, early spring, and that is perfectly fine. But you can also go ahead and cut them in the fall before winter if you need to. So for me, this guy was so scraggly, so awful looking that I went ahead and cut it back. It also means that I won't get broken branches. So this Annabelle has been transplanted. She's been here 2 years. She does really well. You can see she's actually, these are little leaf nodes. The camera will focus. She's actually trying to push some new growth. So I cut, kind of trimmed up above a leaf node. And that's what you want to do. I also wanted to thin her out a little bit, but because her branches were so skinny, and if we get any ice or snow, they would have just snapped. So for me, it was better to go ahead and cut her back now. Now I have a limelight over here in the garden, and this I will leave. I do have her kind of propped up, but I will leave her as long as I can. She's just doing great. I did give her a cutback and tried to see if I would get new blooms, but I didn't get any this year. But in this situation, I would leave her. But in the situation of the Annabelle, I felt like I needed to go ahead and give her a little haircut. All right. I also cleaned up a little bit of the hostas. They will need a big cut later, but they're still looking fairly beautiful. It also allowed me to see I have a spot here, and I think maybe I lost a plant. So this would be a great spot for a hellebore or maybe a fern, something that would grow low under the Annabelle. I also have some new ground cover. So we'll see. I've got a couple options. You can see under here these hellebores or this hellebore probably could even be maybe divided. It's just really grown. So I'm going to see what I can find. I also have plants in this container. I had talked about transplanting those into the garden at the end of the season. I have some other containers with plants that need to be transplanted. So probably I'll have something that I can put in this spot. So when you're doing your fall cleanup, think about that. There's usually something where you have a spot and you want to add some plants. But love this space. Think it turned out beautiful. So before I wrap today, I want to set the table back here with a few pumpkins and just a little cleanup. So I'm going to do that and then I'll show you everything we got done today. So it has been a gorgeous morning in the garden. I hope you're able to get out in your garden and enjoy it. This time of year, I'm just soaking up every day. I just want it to last and last. So I was able to go, I had to stop at my local big box store to get a couple things that I knew they had for another project. And they had pumpkins on sale, 2 for $10. I couldn't resist. I usually do a ton of pumpkins, but I've kind of tried to save my money this year and use it for other things, but I did get these few. And I thought it might be fun to stage them in some containers. So we're just going to give this a try. I love these containers are not weatherproof, so I can't leave them out after frost. But for the pumpkins, I thought it could be fun. And actually, I think I need to get some moss. So let me grab that, the right kind of moss, but maybe, yeah, I'm not sure that's going to work, but we'll try it. Yeah, it's not bad. All right, everybody. Well, this is the finished. I just added some of this coleus. I just thought it was festive. It probably won't last very long, but that's okay. It looks beautiful for today. I loved it. And I love having some pumpkins out here. I love to come into the shade garden and just a little festive spirit for the fall season. So thanks so much for watching. I hope that you're able to get out in your garden and enjoy the season of autumn. If it's autumn where you live, let me know if you've grown a Haas Halo hydrangea. Any tips, any strategies around that? I'm so excited to have it in my garden, and I'm going to give it a lot of love and some water in just a minute. But I will see you in another video really soon. Bye, everybody.